Hello, good morning, good Saturday morning to all of you. Welcome to Reinvention Saturdays. Today is June the 26th. Pretty excited to join you here on Reinvention Saturdays. Today is all about adding value to you. That's what Reinvention Saturdays are all about. They're about coming alongside you and, meeting you where you are and adding value to you. One of the things that I absolutely believe is that you are your most appreciable asset. All the value that you deposit within yourself remains with you, and you keep 100% of the investment that you put in yourself, and you reap the benefits of that. Thanks to all of you who are coming on. Joggers, Ochieng, thank you so much. Welcome. And even as we kind of wait for a few other people to join, I wanted to really highlight to you the need for just taking stock and sitting down to say, what is the awareness that I'm gaining, and how do I use this new awareness to create forward motion in my life? Because you could do a lot of shelf development in this process. I mean, you're coming in, the sessions are great. As people are telling me, wow, I love that idea. I think that was really great. I learned something there. That was really good. I love that. And, a lot of people kind of just are in the learning zone, and really there isn't a lot of application in the process of how do I turn this idea into forward motion in my life. And I challenge all of you, take one idea and say, how do I use this idea to create forward motion in my life? All right, let's get started here. Once again, welcome to Reinvention Saturdays. My name is Benjamin Kamoye, and I'm gifted as a creative communicator. My mission in life is to raise a generation of leaders whose power and influence in the marketplace comes from a relationship with God. And I am so passionate about developing leaders. That's what I do for a living. I work in corporate organizations and with individuals to really help them discover who they are and utilize those gifts in service of the mission and the purpose of the organization, and create sustained, outstanding results that matter to them. And that's the work that I do. My mission, and that's why the Reinvention Saturdays exists, is to help you master your brilliance, manifest that brilliance, and monetize it into the world. And that's a reinvention conversation. And it's a continuous journey. And I'm passionate about really helping you be all that you can be, all that you are created to be, and make big money while doing it. It's for impact, and it's for impact. Last week, I promised you that today we're going to talk about skills to expertise. Skills to expertise. Why is this important? It's because most people haven't got to the level of mastery where they can take their skill and position it at expert level. And because they position it at expert level, they become sought after. And by being sought after, then they get paid high fees, way beyond what they would ordinarily earn in the marketplace. And so the whole conversation about skills to expertise is not just expertise for expertise sake. It's really expertise for one, impact, expertise for two, income. That's my mantra, for impact and for income. And so how do you move from a skill to expertise? So the first thing is we need to define a skill. What is a skill? A skill is an ability to do something. A skill is an ability to do something. It either comes as a talent, something that you have as, God-given, it was deposited in you, and you have a bias for success in that area. I mean, it's the path of least resistance for you. You're already good at it even before you put in the practice. Doesn't mean that you won't have to put in the practice, but you're already good even before you put in the practice. And so a skill is an ability to do something. A skill is an ability to do something. A skill in every space in life is the foundation of contracts. A skill is the foundation of contracts. It's the foundation of transfer of a skill that creates a product or creates a service, and that becomes the foundation of a contract. A skill is God-given. It's your solution to the world. It's your solution to a problem. It's a unique ability that surfaces and impresses itself in situations to create outcomes. You see, I totally believe that we were not created just to fill the world and we be so many of us. No, we were designed as a concept in the mind of God before we were conception in our mother's wombs. And when we come in, we are coming in fully loaded. We are coming in, packed with a solution, with a gift, with a skill. And that is something that protects you and provides for you as you go through life. And so for you to really turn your skill into expertise, and referencing the session that I did last week on moving from mystery to mastery, for you to really get to expert level as far as your skill is concerned, you have to be able to identify your skill. You have to be able to place your finger on this thing that you do so well, this ability, this gift, this talent that you have to create certain outcomes. And you heard me introduce myself when we just started here, and I said, my name is Benjamin Kamoye, and I am gifted as a creative communicator. That is how the maker designed me. He put in creativity as an ability, and he put in communication as an ability. So I'm not just a communicator, but I am a creative communicator. And let me tell you how this whole story started. One of the big challenges for most people, and I see for some of you on the call that could be your challenge, is being multi-gifted. By being multi-gifted is to say that you're able to do this, you're able to do the other. I mean, there are a couple of things you're able to do. I mean, you touch something and you flourish in that area. You touch something else and you flourish. And that is, for most people, the curse of knowledge. For most people, that's a disadvantage. Because they're so good at so many things, they don't even know which one to do. I remember in my teenage years, I'm just out of school and I'm kind of stepping into life and I'm beginning to interact with people and utilize my skills in several ways. And in the spaces that I found myself in, they gave me a camera and they said, we want you to do some recording. That was easy for me. Technology, just something that happens. I knew where to click and I knew what to do. And so I was this guy who's got these many abilities. I'm artistic, I'm creative, I'm a good communicator. I can get in front of crowds, I can lead groups, I can create stuff, I can design, I can think analytically, I can synthesize data. And it looked like, it doesn't matter which field you put me in, I'm gonna thrive. And that at some point in my life, I felt like, man, this is a curse. I don't know what I need to do. I'm able to do so many things. And one evening in November, what I did is I spent some time in an afternoon with my wife and my child, and I put a manila paper on the wall, and I wrote down everything that I was doing at that point. I mean, I was in the service of creating money in that season of my life. And so I wrote down all the things I was doing. I was selling suits. I was in some network marketing company. I was selling shoes. I was selling land. I was doing advertising. I was, selling websites. Whatever you came to me seeking a solution for, I saw opportunity to be a middleman in some way and to really set up the deal for you in that way. And I had gotten to the point in my life where I was now exhausted. I mean, I had just gotten married. We had one son, our firstborn son, who is now 9 years old. And I was at that point feeling like I'm stretched wide. When you look at my life in ministry, I was playing drums in the church. I was, doing recordings. I was in charge of leadership groups. I was in every space that you can think about in the church. And I stepped back and I said, wait a minute. How do I do these things? And I looked at the different spaces I was in my advertising agency as a business. I looked at my life in ministry. I looked at the work that I did with organizations. I looked at my training career, which was, had already taken off and was in its infancy stages. And I distilled all those into 2 gifts. Anything that I did in my life at that point required creativity or communication. In order for me to excel in anything that I was doing, I distilled it. I'm like, what gift do I use here? I use creativity. What gift do I use here? I use creativity. What gift do I use here? I use communication. Whether I was on the drums, playing drums in the church, and I was part of the choir, and I was, in the band, I was playing drums. I had self-taught myself that. I was doing graphic design, and I'm developing content for clients, and I'm doing flyers, I'm doing banners, I'm designing websites. I was using creativity. If I was on a camera and I was shooting and recording different sessions, I was using creativity. If I was, designing my PowerPoint slides for my training and getting really great content out there, I was using creativity. I had started my Reinvent Yourself show. I was using creativity. And whenever I would stand in front of podiums and speak, I was using communication. Whenever I would stand to do presentations for business, that I was doing, and I'm trying to sell these products in network marketing, I'm selling holidays, and I'm in that space, I was using communication. My presentation skills, I distilled it down to creativity and communication. And so for you to move from novice to expert, from mystery to mastery, and turn your skill into an expertise and get paid big bucks for it and make a big impact, a big dent in the world, be the person that is sought after. They say, no, we heard that there is somebody who's got great mastery in this, and you're shipped from all over the world to go and do this thing that you do well. You have got to identify that skill that you're good at. And the easiest way I could tell you to identify that skill is 3 things. Number 1, you've already been doing so much in your life. You've already been doing so much. There's a lot of data and evidence in your past about the things that you've done. I want you to go back there. You see, we develop CVs and use this as a document to tell the world and to tell those that we seek to work with that, hey, these are the things that I've done in my life and these are the things that I'm good at. But you know that there are many things that we don't put in the CV because the structure of a CV doesn't accommodate them. You started out life, maybe let's say your reasoning capacities and really understanding yourself started around age 6 and 7. And from that age, there are things you did, there are things you were passionate about, there are things that you are really, tuned into. If you go as far back as 6 years old, and really look at the evidence of your life, you will find things that when you did them, people really told you, wow, that was great. You do that so well. That comes easy for you. Thank you so much for this. What are those things in your life that you just did effortlessly? It's like, yeah, I just do this thing because I know how to do it. For me, that thing was getting a camera. Somebody just told me, okay, we're recording a show. I want you to hold this camera. This is the power button. This is press record, stop record. And I want you to just pan. And when people are laughing, get that clip. When people are writing down, get that clip. And it was like random. Like, you come here, you have hands, come, boom. And they gave it to me. And I began to do it. Shortly after that, I saw somebody designing something on Corel Draw. And I said, I think I could do this. And I began to do it, and creativity just flowed. This is a gift. This is an ability. I have it. But if I had looked at my life and I'm like, oh, I'm trying to apply for a job. What are these guys looking for? What do I have that rhymes with that? You're not going to get it. But when I really looked at in my life and I said, I did that. That was easy. What skill did I use? That was creativity. Oh, I start on the drums and I said, oh, this one is do 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 da da do 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 da 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 do 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 dan da da do 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 dan da do do dum. And I made music and I was like, I didn't go to a drums lesson. I didn't go to a drums class. That was creativity. I'm in flow. It comes easy for me. And so for you to become masterful, for you to turn your skill into expertise, you have to identify it. And I've shared with you the first one, doing something. There's a lot that you've done in the past, and even as you go into the future, you want to test and you want to find things, and you really want to, as you're doing those things, to really tune into, when I do this, do I feel strong? Marcus Birmingham defines a strength, and I love this definition. He defines a strength, not so much as something you're good at, but something that makes you feel strong when you do it. I love that. Something that makes you strong when you do it. Have you been engaging in activities that the more you do them, the more your energy just goes down? The more you do the thing, the energy just goes down. And at the end of that activity, you are so drained and exhausted. What about those activities that once you get into them, you feel your energy coming? It's like it's being renewed every time you play that piano, or you play the drums, or you draw and you color and you do coding. You feel your body cells are regenerating energy as you do it. Marcus Birmingham defines that as a strength. And I absolutely love that, because I noticed that when I sit down to create, my creativity, it's like creating a momentum, and the momentum just builds and creates so much energy for me. And that is something that I absolutely celebrate. And so you tuning into what makes me strong when I do it. Let me tell you, every time I finish these Reinvention Saturday sessions, I need to land. I need a pad to learn, because my energy is like over there. I've been speaking, I'm in my strength zone, and when I do it, I'm becoming stronger. When I get into coaching sessions, when the coaching session is ending, I am way up there. And if there's another coaching session right after that, I'm clearing my space and I'm telling my clients, I need to learn. We've just come from an amazing session. This was awesome. Because my brain is just going, the cells in my body are like in rhythm, like this is what we were made for, this is what we were made for, and we're thriving at this. So identify what you're good at by doing something. And when you're doing it, tuning in and saying, how am I feeling about this? Am I feeling energized, or is this drawing away from me? That's the first one. Do something. The second way to identify your skill so that you can turn it into expertise is to listen inwardly and listen outwardly. Listening inwardly has a lot to do with you tuning in. Body wisdom. It has a lot to do with the emotional intelligence. It has a lot to do with reflection in your day. It's a lot to do with in the moment checking in and saying, how am I feeling about this? And it's back to, am I feeling energized? Am I drawn to this, or is this something that I hate? Let me tell you something. Anything that involves spreadsheets is not my strength. The moment I think that I'm just about to go into Excel, my energy drops by 60%. And I mean, after that, I need support. I need to sit down, because Excel sheets, those things, I don't like them at all. And so I tune in when I'm just about, and I need to do some Excel related kind of thing in my life, is I just land for a moment and I say, Ben, you know you don't love this stuff. You know it's not your strength zone, but you've got to do it for the business and for whatever. And I just go in and I do it for the moment. I just carve out some little energy to survive through that moment. So listening inwardly is finding out, what am I passionate about? What am I drawn towards? What am I drawn away from? What is the instinct within me saying? That's the only time you can grab it and be like, yeah, I know you. Your name is creative. Your name is innovative. Your name is strategic. Your name is analytical. Your name is whatever that skill is. And then say, how do I then turn it into an expertise? We'll get to that. The third way is psychometrics. Oh, I didn't talk about listening outwardly. Listening outwardly, the second part of it, listening outwardly is really getting feedback from people. Getting feedback from people and asking them, what do I do well? What do you think I do well? Because you see, every person that you interact with, you leave an impression of them, and they're left with an idea of who you are. They're left with an image of who you are. You've heard of first impressions. First impressions last. And it's because as people interact with you, they'll tell you, oh, the other day when we met, this is how you struck me. This is what I saw about you. You're really good at this. You're really good at that. I've always shared this idea that when you are thinking of someone to come and fix your tap or your pipe or your sink because it's broken, your mind lists down a number of people who could be plumbers, who are plumbers, and you reach out to them and say, I need this and I need the other. Similarly, when people think about you, there is what they know you for. There's what they know you for. The greatest teacher of all time, sitting with his disciples, Jesus Christ, says, whom do men say that I am? And I believe that all of us have to get to a point in our lives when you say, whom do men say that I am? In other words, when I interact with them, when I rub on them, when I'm doing what I do every day, whom do they say that I am? Whom do they say that I am? And a big jump of moving from skills to expertise is in moving away from this idea of being a jack of all trades. I was proud that I was a jack of all trades at a certain point in my life. And that's the awareness that I had. But what I realized is this. Nobody calls generalists when they need mastery. Nobody calls generalists. And if you position yourself as a generalist, you will never be paid as a specialist. And that's when I realized, hey, when I'm thinking of an electrician, I don't think of an electrician, water bowser, sewage exhauster kind of guy. No. I think of who's the person who's got mastery in this problem that I have. Don't be proud to tell people, oh, I'm a jack of all trades. By the way, if people tell you that you're a jack of all trades, consider that an insult. Consider that a moment to be awake and say, oh, I'm not doing well. It is not a compliment to be told that you're a jack of all trades. It is actually a statement of your lack of awareness on how to be specific and masterful in what it is that you do. It's allowable maybe in the first 3 years of your life. Yeah? When you're 7, 8, 9, 10, you're trying many things and you're like, wow, my son is able to do so much. But even then, begin to channel your energy in one area. And so, we've talked about how to define that skill. Listen inwardly. Listening inwardly. Listening outwardly. Those go together. Doing something, the action, it is in doing that you're affirmed. So when you do, you really get to listen outwardly as people interact and give you feedback. The third, which I really absolutely celebrate, is psychometrics. And psychometrics are scientific tools that have been developed by sharp people who that is their area of expertise. And they really help you answer some questions and begin to point you in the direction of these are areas where you could do well. One of the tools that I really celebrate is the Myers-Briggs type indicator. I'm certified for that. And what the power I've seen with that tool, and it's the tallest tree in the forest of psychometrics, is that it really even begins to say, people that have this personality, these are some of the areas and strengths that you find them mostly with. And it was the same for me. I realized that, hey, speaking, teaching, training, getting in front of crowds, being a teacher, those are skills that are associated with my personality. Another one is Working Geniuses. Working Geniuses, it's by Patrick Lencioni, the Table Group. Google that, the Table Group. What he's come up with this idea of that all of us have got working geniuses, working competencies, and working frustrations. I talked about Excel sheet. That is a working frustration for me. I hate that stuff. It just takes all my energy away. Working competence is in the area of ideation. That's really my big strength, ideation and bringing up an idea. It's from my creative, it's from my creative energy. And then activation. Activation has got to do with my communication and getting people and moving it forward. So check it out, and it's take the assessment. It's about $25. The MBTI assessment is about $30, $40 thereabout. Jump into all these assessments. There's tons of them online, and some of them are free. I don't advocate for free stuff, by the way, because I always think that you're not really getting the juice of it. But if that's where you need to start, at least start there and really become tuned into this is who I am, this is where I am. The next one is Strengths Finder. Strengths Finder is a powerful one. You want to go in there and really find out, what are my strengths? What are the fields? What are the areas in which my strengths lie? Now, before we end up here, we've just got about 5 minutes. The next thing that I want you to do, once you identify that this is the gift, this is the skill that I have, for you to turn it into expertise and to turn it into mastery requires you to think about, where do I want to utilize this skill in? Where do I want to utilize this skill in? I want to utilize it in, maybe being a coach, being a speaker, being a trainer. Identify where you want to utilize that skill. Because I'll give you an example. As much as I'm a communicator, I would have been very happy being an anchor on television. But I don't like being an MC. Can I do it? Yes. Will I excel better than most? Yes. Do I want to do it? No. And so becoming clear about, this is my gift and this is where I want to apply my gift. In other words, this is the impact I want to have in the world with this gift. And because I'm having impact there, then I'll be able to create this kind of income. I'll be paid X amount for that. And so identifying that skill is the first thing. And then second thing is identifying where do I want to have impact with this skill. And that brings us to the third thing, which is, so what should I do to become the best in that area? It's as simple as that. We're moving from mystery to mastery, from a skill to expertise. Now that I've become good as a communicator, now that I've known that creativity and communication is my skill, then I need to really become clear about that's the space that I want to be great at. I want to stand in front of 1 million people. I want to stand on Zoom. I want to stand on Facebook. I want to stand on any platform and leverage every virtual application to get the message out there. And for me to become a great speaker, then this is where I need to go to sharpen my skill. I need to go to the speaker school. I need to go to a coaching school. I need to go to get mastery in creative communication. I need to go and learn about storytelling. Those are the things that are in my trade and my line of work. What is it for you? And that's how you begin to move towards mastery. And if you put your fingers like this, yeah? If you put your fingers like this, you'll find that you have gifts, many gifts and abilities. And if you put them like this, you can, it looks like all of them are the same, yeah? I love this analogy because once you realize is that once you focus your skills together, you'll find there's an area where you've got the deepest well. There's one finger that touches down and the others don't. Okay, look at that. And so this is the area where you want to dig your deepest wells. Dig your deepest well in the area where you've got the greatest skill. And digging deep wells meaning mastery. It means identifying this is the space that I want to go into. Very good. So what will it take for me to get good at that? These are the schools I need to attend. Bingo. So how does that even fit into my day? So I'm going to spend my morning hours, 3 to 4 hours, really getting good at this. We've always taught about time management in different trainings. And one of the things that really astonishes many people is to realize that in a day, we have 24 hours. Most people can account for the time they are sleeping. And most people are not even sleeping enough because they're watching seasons and sleeping for 4 hours. So let's give it to you that you're sleeping for 8 hours. Good. You're working for another 8 hours. Okay, sawa. Where's the other 8 hours going? And for most people, they cannot really trace where the 8 hours is going. That's where the people who become masterful direct their energy and begin to learn, to trade, to become good. You're always walking in a book. If you're driving in a matatu, you're seeing the same trees, you're seeing the same potholes. Get a book. You know when the stage is there. Be masterful. You're spending probably about an hour and a half in traffic. Anything above 30 minutes is a lot of time in traffic. Go back, read, back home. That's an hour. Look for spots. How many times are you queuing, waiting to pay, waiting to be in the bank? You're queuing somewhere. If you accumulate the number of hours that you're losing in a day, you could be busy getting masterful, listening to the same podcast again and again and again and again and again and again and getting those ideas to sink into your mind. You could be spending that time becoming a practicing that idea and getting good. That is how you move from skills to expertise. That's how you become a master. I've not done it any other way. This is the way I've done it. And so in the morning, I have a chunk of time in my day where it's just for 2 hours, I'm diving deep and I'm reading the same books, the same book. One of the books that I love to read is this, Mastering Leadership. And if you check, this thing it's been underlined, it's been whatever, all over the place. I've kind of read it cover to cover definitely. And it's full of sticky notes and stuff like that. That's one of the books that I love to read. And I do it every day. These are the books that really inform the ideas that I'm sharing with you here. Lots of tips inside here. And this is Think and Grow Rich, an amazing book. Here's one idea. And I kind of put that in. Transplant that idea, that faith into the minds of 1 billion leaders. That's one big idea that I have there. So what's the big message here? The big message here is that you will not become an expert until you identify your skill and really know what that skill is. And the path to identifying that skill is doing something, listening inwardly and outwardly. What am I feeling? What am I sensing? What are people telling me? Doing psychometrics and then corroborating all that data together and saying, so how do I? This is the big first step in mastering your brilliance. And that's what I'm all about. Helping you master, manifest, and monetize. You will not get to the monetizing You will not get to the manifesting if you haven't mastered. And the mastery starts with identifying the skill and then saying, how do I turn this into expertise? And I've shared with you a practical way to turn this learning into a lifestyle. Know the gift, know the impact space you want to apply that gift. Think about what it means to become impactful in that space and what do you need to study, master, practice, and then put it into your day. Don't lose time. Get into podcasts, get into books, get into the spaces that area of mastery is being discussed, and put your mind in that space and do the practice, do the work. It's just going to be a matter of time, my friend. People will begin to seek you out. People will begin to seek you out. All right? There we have it, the 30 minutes today of Reinvention Saturdays. Thank you so much to all of you who came on board. Nduko, I thank you. Moses Mandela, my good friend. Salute you, man. Thank you so much. I absolutely love that. Hey, tell you what, is there an idea that you picked up here today that can create forward motion in your life? Please, put it into action. Find a spot in your week and be like, boom, I'm taking this idea and I'm putting it into action. Don't be all about shelf development. Shelf development is when you are accumulating a lot of stuff, you're watching it on YouTube. That is called shelf development. Self-development, rather, is when you take an idea and you use that idea to create forward motion in your life. Create action steps from an insight to an action, from an insight to an action. That's how we move and make progress. All right, that has been great. I'm so glad and delighted that we spent some time here today. Next Saturday, what are we talking about? I'm gonna look quickly in my notes here and see what we're talking about next Saturday. Just continuing on this idea of moving from manifesting to mastering, manifesting, and monetizing. I want to bring up that lesson. I didn't have it in my head. Come on, where are you? Work, purpose. Yes, I found it. Good. Next week, we're going to be talking about this idea of safety versus purpose. Safety versus purpose. When you look at life, mostly, leaders are either leading from a space of safety or leading from purpose. It's a leadership conversation. And we're going to talk about that next week. All right? From safety to purpose and what that is all about. Bless you so much. Thank you for your time here today. Share this video, like this, and also comment with an idea that has really resonated with you. Thank you for being here with me today. Appreciate you. Bless you. Be well, and bye for now.